Wife and sister-in-law faked pregnancy to trap my brother. Their plan backfired terribly. I need to provide some background to explain how we got here. I, 31 male, met Sophia, 29 female, 5 years ago at a tech company where I worked as a software developer and she worked in HR. She seemed really sweet and caring back then. She was the type who would organize office parties and help new employees settle in. Everyone loved her, and I felt lucky when she agreed to go out with me. We dated for 2 years before getting married. During our dating period, she met my family multiple times. I have a younger brother Nolan, 25 male, who lived with me since he graduated. Our parents raised us to always support each other, so when Nolan got a job in the same city, it was natural for him to move in with me. He's a brilliant programmer and landed a job at a major tech company right after graduation. He actually makes more money than I do, but we split all expenses equally. When Sophia and I decided to get married, she subtly suggested that Nolan should find his own place. I explained that in our family, we stick together and help each other out. She seemed to accept it, but would occasionally make comments about how unusual it was for a married couple to live with a brother-in-law. I always brushed these comments off because everything else in our marriage was perfect. Sophia's family was different from ours. Her parents were quite status conscious and always talking about appearances. They have 2 daughters, Sophia and Lana, 21 female. Lana was portrayed as this perfect angel who deserved only the best in life. Sophia would constantly talk about how Lana was heading for great things and needed an equally successful partner. 8 months ago, Lana graduated from college and got an internship in our city. Sophia immediately suggested that Lana should live with us instead of wasting money on rent. I agreed because I thought it would make Sophia happy. Lana moved into our guest room, and initially, everything seemed fine. She and Nolan barely interacted, mainly saying hello in the kitchen or living room. I noticed some tension between Sophia and Nolan about 3 months into Lana living with us. Sophia would make snippy comments about Nolan's lifestyle, saying things like he should be saving for his own place instead of buying expensive gaming equipment. This was ridiculous because Nolan was actually very responsible with money and had substantial savings. 3 months ago, everything exploded. Lana announced at dinner that she was pregnant. Before anyone could react, Sophia started screaming at Nolan. It turned out Nolan was the father. Sophia was furious, but not for the reasons I expected. Instead of being angry about the pregnancy, she was mad that Nolan might want to marry Lana. She demanded that Nolan move out immediately and just pay child support. Her argument was that Lana deserved someone more established, maybe a CEO or a business owner. This made no sense because Nolan earned really well and had a promising career. When I pointed this out, Sophia said it wasn't about money but about status. She didn't want her sister married to someone who lived with his brother. Nolan was completely blindsided by Sophia's reaction. He told me later that he and Lana had been secretly dating for 4 months. They kept it quiet because they weren't sure how serious it was, but he really liked her and wanted to marry her. He said Lana had seemed equally interested in a relationship. My parents came over when they heard the news. They fully supported Nolan's decision to marry Lana. They even offered to help with wedding expenses and suggested the couple could live with them if they wanted space. But Sophia and her parents reacted like we'd suggested something horrible. Sophia's family started acting weird. They kept changing the topic whenever marriage was mentioned. Her parents made appointments with expensive lawyers to discuss child support calculations. Sophia's mom even started looking at preschools, saying Lana would be a single mom who needed to plan ahead. The situation at home became unbearable. Sophia gave me an ultimatum: either kick Nolan out or she would file for divorce. She said I needed to choose between my brother and my marriage. When I refused to kick Nolan out, Sophia started treating him horribly. She would accidentally knock his things over, slam doors when he was around, and make loud phone calls about how irresponsible he was. Nolan was really confused by Lana's behavior too. She went from being seemingly in love with him to barely acknowledging his existence. When he tried to talk to her about marriage, she would start crying and run to Sophia. It seemed very dramatic and staged, but I couldn't prove anything. Things reached a breaking point last week. I noticed Sophia and Lana giggling while looking at old messages on Lana's phone. Sophia quickly hid the phone when she saw me. That seemed suspicious because they had been treating this pregnancy like a tragedy until then. That night, while Sophia was sleeping, I checked her laptop. She always left it logged in because she trusted me completely. What I found made me sick to my stomach. There were messages between Sophia and Lana from 6 months ago, right before Lana moved in. They had planned everything. Sophia had noticed Nolan checking Lana out when they met at family gatherings. She convinced Lana to move in and seduce Nolan. Their plan was to get pregnant, refuse marriage, and get hefty child support from Nolan's high salary. The messages were detailed and calculating. Sophia had written things like, once we get the child support, you can find someone better and he makes 6 figures, so the support will be huge. Lana's replies included, I'll make sure to get pregnant fast and we just need to make him look bad so no one supports the marriage idea. I spent the whole night taking screenshots and sending everything to my lawyer. I woke Nolan up early and showed him everything. He was devastated. He had genuinely fallen for Lana and thought she felt the same way. When I confronted Sophia, she didn't even seem very sorry. She broke down crying, but her excuses were all about how Nolan deserved it for living off me, which wasn't true, and how Lana deserved better. She actually tried to defend their plan as teaching Nolan a lesson about independence. I filed for divorce that same day. I'm not going to stay married to someone who would plot to trap and extort my brother. Nolan is devastated, but at least we caught their plan before they could do more damage. Now I'm waiting to see what other drama unfolds as the divorce proceeds. Am I wrong for choosing my brother over my wife in this situation? Sophia's family is calling me horrible names for breaking up my marriage over this, but I think finding out your wife plotted to trap your brother is a pretty good reason for divorce. Update 1. First, I want to thank everyone who supported me in my original post. The past 2 weeks have been absolute chaos, and I need to vent about everything that's happened. Things have gotten incredibly messy. Sophia's family launched a full-scale social media attack against me and Nolan. They're posting long rants about how I'm a terrible husband who chose his irresponsible brother over his wife. Sophia's mom even wrote a tearful Facebook post about how her poor daughter is suffering because her husband fabricated evidence to help his brother escape responsibility. Nolan moved out temporarily to stay with our parents because living in the house became impossible. Sophia and Lana started doing petty things like turning off the hot water when he was showering, accidentally deleting his work files from the shared home network, and blasting music at 3 a.m. outside his room. I wanted to kick them out, but my lawyer advised against it until the divorce proceedings were properly filed. The real bombshell dropped 3 days ago. I received a message from a guy named Mike who identified himself as Lana's ex-boyfriend from college. He had seen Sophia's mom's Facebook posts about the situation and felt compelled to reach out. What he told me left me speechless. Mike and Lana dated for 8 months last year. According to him, Lana had tried the exact same pregnancy trap with him. She had deliberately tampered with protection and then claimed to be pregnant. Mike caught her in the act of tampering and confronted her. That's when Lana threatened to accuse him of assault if he told anyone about what she did. Mike showed me their text conversations from that time. Lana had written things like, "If you tell anyone what really happened, I'll tell everyone you forced yourself on me and no one will believe you over me." Mike stayed quiet out of fear, but seeing Nolan go through the same thing made him feel guilty enough to come forward. I added Mike's evidence to my divorce filing. The pattern of behavior it showed made our case even stronger. When Sophia found out about Mike coming forward, she completely lost it. She and Lana showed up at our house at midnight, clearly drunk, and tried to break in through the back door. They were yelling about deleting stuff from my laptop. Thankfully, I had already backed up all the evidence in multiple places. I called the police, and the responding officer turned out to be Mike's cousin. He was already familiar with Lana's history of false accusations because Mike had confided in him last year. The officer took the attempted break-in very seriously and documented everything thoroughly. The next day, someone, I honestly don't know who, sent the screenshots of Sophia and Lana's messages to the HR department at our company. Sophia got immediately suspended pending investigation because she had used her work laptop for some of these conversations. The company has strict policies about using work resources for illegal or fraudulent activities. Sophia came barging into my office, screaming that I had ruined her career. I told her I had nothing to do with the HR complaint, but she wouldn't believe me. Security had to escort her out. Now she's telling everyone that I'm trying to destroy her life because she stood up for her sister. Nolan is taking everything really hard. He really loved Lana and had even started looking at engagement rings before all this came out. Our parents are trying to support him, but he's become withdrawn and depressed. He took a week off work because he couldn't focus. Sophia's younger brother called me yesterday. He seemed uncomfortable and admitted that this wasn't the first time Sophia and Lana had pulled something like this. Apparently, they had tried similar schemes in college but their parents always covered it up. He felt guilty for not warning me before I married Sophia. The divorce proceedings are moving forward. My lawyer says we have a solid case, especially with Mike's evidence showing a pattern of behavior. Sophia's lawyer reached out about a settlement, but the terms were ridiculous. They wanted me to sign a statement saying I lied about the pregnancy trap plot, give Sophia half of Nolan's savings as emotional damage compensation, and agree to never talk about what really happened. Obviously, I refused. I'm not going to lie to protect their reputation, and I'm certainly not going to let them get their hands on Nolan's money. Sophia's lawyer then threatened to make the divorce very public and very messy. I told them to go ahead, I have nothing to hide. The support from most of our friends has been overwhelming. Many people who know Sophia from work have reached out to say they always felt something was off about her, but couldn't quite put their finger on it. A few of her ex-colleagues even shared stories about her manipulating situations to get what she wanted. The only people still on Sophia's side are her parents and a few family friends who only hear her version of events. They're all convinced that Nolan somehow seduced their innocent Lana and now I'm helping him abandon his responsibilities. It's fascinating how they can ignore all the evidence and still paint themselves as victims. I'm just glad I found out what kind of person Sophia really is before we had kids of our own. I can't imagine how much damage she could have done if children were involved. Nolan keeps thanking me for standing by him, but honestly, I couldn't have done anything else. You don't watch someone systematically destroy your brother's life and just stand by. My lawyer says the divorce should be finalized within a few months. Until then, I'm documenting every incident of harassment from Sophia and her family. I've installed security cameras around the house and saved every threatening message they've sent. I'm also looking for a new job because I don't want to work at the same company as Sophia anymore, even though she's currently suspended. This whole situation is a nightmare, but at least the truth is coming out. I'll update again when there are more developments. Update 2. Just when I thought this situation couldn't get more twisted, everything exploded in the most unexpected way. The truth came out, and it's worse than anyone imagined. Lana wasn't actually pregnant. The whole thing was an elaborate hoax with fake pregnancy tests and a foam belly pad she'd been wearing. This came to light in the most dramatic way possible. Sophia's mom had gone to Lana's apartment to drop off some prenatal vitamins. She walked in using her spare key and found Lana in her bedroom, adjusting what looked like a foam pad under her shirt. Sophia's mom finally saw her daughter's true colors. She called me in tears, apologizing for everything she'd said about me and Nolan. She admitted that she and her husband had enabled their daughter's behavior for years by always taking their side and covering up their mistakes. Finding out about the fake pregnancy was apparently her breaking point. Nolan was relieved about the pregnancy being fake, but he's also deeply hurt. He'd already started preparing for fatherhood, even bought some baby books and had been researching the best pediatricians in our area. Finding out it was all a scam to get his money broke something in him. He's been throwing himself into work, barely sleeping or eating. My parents were livid when they heard about the fake pregnancy. Dad wanted to press charges for fraud and emotional distress. Our lawyer said we had a strong case with all the evidence, the text messages about planning the trap, Mike's testimony about Lana's previous attempt, and now proof of the fake pregnancy. The divorce hearing last week was intense. Sophia finally showed her true face in court. When the judge asked about the pregnancy scheme, she went on a rant about how she was tired of living with Nolan. She claimed that plotting to trap him was justified because he was invading her married life by living with us. She actually thought this would make her look sympathetic. The judge was not impressed, especially after seeing the evidence about the fake pregnancy. He was particularly disturbed by the texts where Sophia and Lana discussed their plan to bleed Nolan dry through child support payments. The divorce was granted in my favor, and Sophia got nothing from our assets. Lana tried to do damage control by posting a tearful video on Instagram, claiming she only went along with the plan because Sophia manipulated her. But then someone leaked their group chat messages where Lana was actually the one who suggested faking the pregnancy. She had apparently done research on how to make fake positive pregnancy tests using household items. The fallout at work was massive. The HR investigation concluded, and Sophia was fired. They found more messages on her work laptop where she had been advising other women on how to trap men for money. The company was worried about potential legal liability and cut all ties with her. Sophia's dad, who had been defending his daughters all this time, finally broke down when he saw the fake pregnancy evidence. He had been telling all his golf buddies about his upcoming grandchild, even bought expensive baby furniture. Finding out it was all a scam to extort money from Nolan humiliated him completely. The most surprising support came from Sophia's college roommate. She reached out to tell me that Sophia had tried similar schemes in college. She would target wealthy students, pretend to be pregnant, and then demand money for an abortion. The roommate had stayed quiet because Sophia threatened to get her expelled by making up stories about her cheating on exams. Nolan is doing better now that he knows there's no baby involved. He was more hurt by the betrayal than anything else. Lana had told him she loved him and talked about their future together, all while plotting to destroy his life. He started seeing a counselor to deal with trust issues from this whole mess. Some people suggested we press criminal charges, but we decided against it. The public humiliation they're facing seems like punishment enough. Sophia and Lana have become social outcasts in our circle. No one wants to associate with women who fake pregnancies to extort money. The whole experience taught me how important it is to trust your instincts. I always felt something was off about how Sophia treated Nolan, but I ignored it because I wanted to believe in my marriage. At least now we can all move forward knowing the truth. I'm looking at houses in another neighborhood because I don't want to live where everyone knows about this drama. Nolan is moving with me. After everything that happened, we've grown even closer as brothers. Sometimes the worst situations bring out the best in family relationships. Sophia tried to contact me through her lawyer again, suggesting we put this misunderstanding behind us. I didn't even bother responding. Some things can't be fixed with apologies, and deliberately trying to destroy my brother's life is one of them. Update 3. A lot has happened in the past 3 months, and Sophia and Lana's lives have completely fallen apart. Their perfect image is shattered, and reality has finally caught up with them. Sophia not only lost her HR job but got blacklisted in the industry. Turns out, the company did a thorough investigation and found out she had been using her position to access confidential salary information of male employees. She would pass this information to Lana and other friends to help them target wealthy guys. When this came out, the company sent out confidential warnings to other HR departments in the area. Lana's internship also ended badly. Someone anonymously sent her supervisor the screenshots of her messages planning the pregnancy trap. The company immediately terminated her internship and withdrew their full-time job offer. Her college also got wind of the situation and is reviewing her degree because apparently, she had written an ethics paper about workplace harassment while actively planning to extort Nolan. They tried damage control by posting a joint apology on Facebook. It was the most insincere thing I've ever read. They claimed they had mental health issues and didn't mean to hurt anyone. They even tried to spin it as a cry for help and said they were victims of societal pressure. Nobody bought it, especially since we had proof of them laughing about their plan in their messages. Their parents have completely cut contact with them. Sophia's mom told me that she found more evidence of their schemes while cleaning out Lana's old room. There were journals detailing other men they had tried to trap, complete with their salaries and potential child support calculations. She was disgusted to learn that her daughters saw men as nothing but walking ATMs. Nolan moved back in after Sophia moved out, and we're doing much better. He's dating someone new, a software engineer from his company who knows the whole story. She's actually a decent person who was horrified by what Sophia and Lana did. It's nice to see him happy again. Sophia and Lana moved to another city after becoming social outcasts here. But their reputation followed them. Apparently, someone created a website documenting their pregnancy trap scheme with all the evidence, including their text messages and social media posts. It comes up whenever someone Google searches their names. Last week, they tried reaching out to their parents again. Sophia called their mom crying about how they were struggling to find jobs and needed money. Their mom told them that actions have consequences and hung up. Their dad blocked their numbers after they tried guilt-tripping him about being a terrible father for not helping them. The karma hit them hard in other ways too. Lana's new boyfriend dumped her after finding the website about their scam. Sophia got rejected from 3 jobs when her background check revealed the reason she was fired from her HR position. They're now working at a small diner and sharing a studio apartment, quite a change from their previous lifestyle. My ex-in-laws have been surprisingly supportive lately. Sophia's mom regularly calls to check on Nolan, and their dad helped us find a great house in a new neighborhood. They're trying to make amends for enabling their daughter's behavior all these years. It's sad that it took something this extreme for them to realize their mistakes in parenting. Nolan has fully recovered from the whole ordeal and actually thanks me for having his back. He says finding out about their plan before they could trap him with real pregnancy was the best thing that could have happened. His new girlfriend is the complete opposite of Lana, honest, hardworking, and genuinely cares about him. I sold our old house because it had too many bad memories. Nolan and I bought a nice place in a quiet neighborhood where nobody knows about the drama. We both work remotely now, which helps avoid running into Sophia or Lana if they ever come back to town. Some mutual friends have told me that Sophia and Lana are telling everyone that they've changed and learned their lesson. But last month, one of Nolan's friends spotted Lana trying to flirt with a wealthy businessman in their new city. Some people never really change, they just find new victims. I'm just glad we got out of this mess before any real damage was done. No amount of apologies can fix what they tried to do. Going completely no contact was the best decision we ever made. Update 4. The final twist in this mess came when Sophia's younger brother Tom reached out to me. He had been carrying guilt about something he knew from their college days. He visited me last weekend and shared some disturbing information about Sophia's past. Apparently, Sophia had a well-established pattern of trying to trap wealthy guys with fake pregnancy scares during college. Tom revealed that she had successfully extorted money from at least 3 different guys by threatening to tell their families about the pregnancies. Their parents covered it up each time by paying off the guys or threatening them with legal action if they spoke up. Tom showed me an old diary of Sophia's that he found while helping their parents clean out her old room. The diary had detailed entries about her targets, their family backgrounds, financial status, and how much she could potentially get from each of them. She even had a scoring system to rate how easily they could be manipulated. It was chilling to read how she planned these scams like business projects. I'm actually glad this whole thing came out now. Nolan is doing fantastic, he just got promoted to lead developer and his new relationship is going great. His girlfriend is everything Lana pretended to be, and more importantly, she's genuine. They're talking about moving in together next month. Our parents are proud of how we handled everything. Dad says this situation showed him that he and Mom did something right in raising us to stick together. They've become closer to Sophia's parents too, shared trauma of having their kids go through this mess brought them together. Sophia tried reaching out last week through a burner Instagram account. She sent a long message about how she's changed and realized her mistakes. She claimed therapy helped her understand her toxic behavior, though Tom says she's never been to therapy, and she wanted to apologize in person. I blocked the account without responding. Lana hasn't given up either. She created a TikTok about being a survivor of toxic family dynamics where she tried to paint herself as the victim who was manipulated by her older sister. It backfired when people who knew the truth flooded the comments with screenshots of her messages planning the pregnancy trap. Some well-meaning friends suggested family therapy for everyone involved, but we're doing fine without it. Nolan and I have moved on. We've built a new life where Sophia and Lana's drama can't reach us. Our new house has become a gathering spot for friends and family who stuck by us during the hard times. Last month, we heard through mutual friends that Sophia and Lana tried to pull their pregnancy scam on some rich guy in their new city. But this time, the guy's sister recognized them from the website documenting their previous scam. They had to move cities again after he threatened to press charges. The whole experience taught me that some people are just naturally toxic and manipulative. No amount of second chances or family ties can fix that. The best thing you can do is recognize them for what they are and keep them out of your life. I'm sharing this final update because I want others to learn from our experience. Watch out for people who see relationships as nothing but opportunities for financial gain. And most importantly, stand by your family members when they're being targeted by such people. Having someone in your corner can make all the difference. This will be my last update as there's nothing more to say. Nolan and I have moved on to better things, while Sophia and Lana are facing the consequences of their actions. Sometimes, the best revenge is just living well and letting karma do its job.